welcome to Breach of Etiquette. This is our 13th episode, and unfortunately, it has also been a long time since our last one. That is going to be a topic of discussion today, but first we have a new visitor on the podcast. Please welcome Andrew Young. Andrew, would you like to tell our listeners something about yourself?
I'm Andrew. I've been playing L5R for about 3 years now. I'm a unicorn player, and I really love this game.
Which puts him in stark contrast to several folks in our local play group, and that is going to be pretty much the topic of discussion today. If you've been following L5R News, you will know that the new set, The New Order, has been now fully previewed for some time, and the set has just hit Stronghold stores this week. And it is the first set in a very long time that I am probably not going to be buying any of. I found it to be incredibly boring when it wasn't outright insulting me with several things. One thing, as a guy who plays L5R largely for the story, is that they introduced a new character named Matsu Masato when there is a Matsu Masato already in the core set of the game. So they couldn't even keep their characters straight for 12 months. In a game that is about characters and storyline. I think that's important. And then there are the alliance cards, which don't make any sense, like a Man's Clan personality who does nothing unless you're Crane Clan, in which case they will get you the favor, but not any honor. So you print a card that neither clan wants to run for reasons that will perhaps never be understood.
You need bad cards to know what the good cards are, Manji.
No, and we've got that. I call it the Rest of Ivory edition. Because this edition has been really, really, really fucking boring. Math is what this game is about now. It's not about like, oh my god, I'm screwed, but I have like a couple outs if I can draw to them. It's no. Oh, I'm playing Unicorn, and he got 5 gold turn 1 and 10 gold turn 2. I lose. I just lose. Or, which is why Crab are getting good, because Crab can run the Unicorn gold scheme. And blanking their stronghold and getting a sensei who gives them a downside of making their guys more expensive, still makes them more competitive than they have been at any other point in this game. And it's just math. It's just math. Where are the cool personalities? Where's like at least Matsu Kasei experienced like there was a storyline behind cool things happening to him, and there was a reason he did things. Ikoma Satoru, when he got experienced as I think the turquoise champion, he had a really cool like aggressive gift giving mechanic, because gift giving's like the honorable thing, but he would do like a gift, and if you refuse the gift, he would murder a dude as a limited action. Like, that's awesome. But, you know, the most exciting card in the New Order is Brazen Disregard. And Brazen Disregard is an interrupt. It's a strategy that negates the action's movement effects. And it has discipline. In the entire set, I'm not excited about anyone in any clan that I play. I'm not excited about people in clans I don't play. I'm not excited by items. I'm not excited by any of the storyline, because as far as anyone can tell, this is a straight up continuation of things already covered in the line in the sand. Shockingly, there's a war between the two heirs to the throne, because Four Winds sold really well, you guys. Only now we're going to do Four Winds, but with less interesting characters and worse mechanics. The episode title for this is Earning the Name.
All right. I don't disagree with everything you said. Yeah, I mean, you're making fair points. I do have to say that some of the Unicorn Clan personalities that I've seen, I am really excited about, because I do play Unicorn Fear, and the two personalities that we got supercharged that deck. Granted, did that deck need supercharging? No, it won Worlds.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool that Crane and Unicorn keep getting good cards because they really need the help.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, honestly, I would have liked to see some Mantis Clan personality come out of this that, really kind of shifts the paradigm, because Mantis is my second favorite clan, and I find them to be largely unplayable in this environment, and it makes me sad. I like last Kotei season, I was actually running a Mantis deck. I was running an Aramasu's Legacy deck that was just brutal. And I don't see that in Mantis Clan right now, so I don't play them.
The best performing Mantis decks run, depending on how you count, between 5 and 7 Mantis Clan dues, and then otherwise just use the Mantis Clan gold scheme to buy whatever. If that happens to be Ogre Bushi and a sword, it happens to be Ogre Bushi and a sword. That hasn't changed. That hasn't changed since the release of the core set in February.
Yeah, and that's largely disappointing. Like, where's my bounty hunters? Where's my magistrates? And where's the cards that work with them? Like,
if I wanted a perfectly balanced game, I would play chess. If I wanted a balanced CCG, I would play Magic the Gathering. I don't, at the end of the day, really care about the overall balance of L5R.
Well,
what needs to happen is that, and this is when the game has been at its best and when the cards have been the most exciting, is when the cards are printed because there are storyline things happening that change how they work. The Scorpion get a Blood Speaker in the New Order. A Blood Speaker gets carded. This is the first time a non-Spider Blood Speaker has been carded since I started playing the game, like a non-Chuda or Spider affiliated.
Yeah, I saw that character. What's the story?
There isn't one.
There isn't. He's just there.
Yeah,
his quote is like, the Scorpion will do whatever is necessary and stuff like that. Like, so he's like, I'm using Maho because the Scorpion are evil toolboxes. Well, we're pretty clear on the evil toolbox part, but this guy's kind of interesting. Is there a storyline? No, there isn't, because the story team's gone. So there is no storyline. We're just kind of going along with this. And I'm tired of it. I am tired of accepting that this is what L5R has to be now, because it isn't. I've seen good L5R cards, like I unfortunately missed what I think I would have enjoyed probably Diamond through Samurai the most. I started with Celestial Edition. But of the editions I've played, I mean, even Celestial Edition, which was full of decks that people complained about, from Turn to Kuon to Breeder, like, I could build a Mantis deck that was, like, interesting and fun. Yeah. I could build a Dragon Monk deck a year into the arc that was interesting and fun. I've built a Dragon Monk deck in Strict, and it has like
that was Oracle Earth, right?
Yeah, I managed to break the break the rules team a little bit at Oracle of Earth by using monk followers to cast Keyhose based on Chi, because they can do that now, and but it wasn't to do something cool. In Celestial Edition, when I would use monk chi effects would be like kill your unit, or like range attack equal to chi, or like lots of other effects where like I'd shut that dude's ability off and I get +2 force and I draw a card and I take additional action. Like that was what monks used to be. Like, monks used to be like, I'm going to vomit my hand in one turn. I'm going to do 70 things. And if you're standing after that flurry of actions, I am screwed. And it was a not good deck. But it was fun to play. It was incredibly fun to play.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like having those little niche decks, that I feel like that you have a better opportunity to do in some of the legacy formats due to the variety in cards are really, really fun to play, which is the reason why I've been kind of hitting up Modern recently. But Modern isn't even where I want it.
We want a real, like, an honest to God and well supported legacy format.
Yes.
Where, we're talking really structured with people who really care about game balance, creating ban lists and restricted lists, and trying to make it as viable a format as it can be.
Yeah.
Because, and this is a discussion that started relatively recently. Modern is a format that's like 6 weeks old, 8 weeks old.
I think that sounds about right.
Yeah, I remember seeing about a month ago.
I think it came about a week or two after Empress did, and Empress was about 6 weeks ago.
And this is the telltale sign to me. Ivory Edition is so good that players are coming up with ways to not play Ivory Edition, to keep playing L5R, but to not play Ivory Edition. Because Ivory Edition, as a game, is incredibly boring. It's boring to draft. It's boring and constructed. It's boring. And the thing that really aggravates me here is that I think that there are people at AEG who are doing fantastic jobs. Adrian Burton, the art director. Steve Argyle's also sort of art directing with him, but it's mostly Adrian's gig, is my understanding. The art is phenomenal. I love almost every single piece that comes out in a set. I love seeing art by guys like Jason Benke and Prof. Herbert. And the way that they're utilized in the sets is just great. There's a real understanding and care there. I think Sean Carman and Robert Denton, the sole survivors on the L5R story team, are honestly doing as well as they can.
So they're the only two left on the story team?
That's it. That's why the only fictions you really see now are a set release fiction on the website. They just did Scenes of the Empire with a Halloween fiction at the end. And then the fictions you get when you buy a box of L5R boosters. And that's sort of it. There isn't, we don't have weekly fictions anymore. Magic has weekly fictions now because Magic has built up a story team to do that. And they decided the best way to convey the story of their Khans of Tarkir set was to do weekly fictions. Gee, I wonder where they got that idea from.
Yeah.
So Magic is sort of taking good ideas L5R has had in the past and is executing them very well. The frustrating thing I feel is that when it comes to L5R, there have been multiple lead designers in the past. You had Mark Wooten, Dan Tibbles.
Now, weren't they? Sorry, didn't mean to be off there. Weren't they getting people to write in for story team positions or whatever? Whatever happened
back
to that?
in March or April?
Yeah, whatever happened to that
This year?
Of this year.
Yeah.
From what I have heard, when it comes to the story team, what ended up happening was, so what ended up happening is that they, depending on who you hear the rumor from, either people haven't had the time to review the applications, which could certainly be fair. No one on story team is full time, which is a pretty big problem. And they got 100 and something applications. And the continuity editor, who's the other member of the story team, he works at a law firm in Canada. Sean Carman, the lead writer, these are the two guys who'd be able to make those kinds of decisions.
Right. We had the continuity guy on here, one of our...
Correct. Fred Wan. Yeah. Yes, we did. Sean Carman, lead writer, is a teacher in Tennessee.
Right.
So, that's not exactly a job that has low hours, right?
Yeah.
So it's a matter of they simply haven't had the time to do that on top of writing the flavor text for all the cards and all the sets and getting out what fictions they can every couple of months. But the fact of the matter is the position need to have been filled in March and they haven't been, and it's damaging the arc. It's damaging the edition because even when the game wasn't good, And that has not been an uncommon occurrence in L5R.
Right. They still had story going.
Yeah. Like, Late Diamond for a lot of people, wasn't good. But you had the whole Ichiban stuff happening. And eventually, like, the payoff there in Late Diamond. So, I mean, there were still, like, cool things happening. In Celestial Edition, for large parts of it, like, cool things legitimately kept happening in the storyline. The fall of Kyudenhida, regardless of what people say about the execution, at least something happened. The Mantis clan effectively like paid off like 3 or 4 Kote to keep the Castle of the Wasp standing, and they wrote that in as like it was the first time the Empire legitimately beat back the Destroyers. The Destroyers came up to the Castle of the Wasp and were driven back. So there were things happening. I mean, even in Emperor Edition, which lacked, and we discussed this, lacked a strong sort of central narrative, but the individual fictions were always very, very good.
Yeah.
Now we just don't have them. So not only is the game boring, we don't have them. So, part of it is they don't have time. The other thing I've heard is that someone outside the story team is preventing the hiring. I don't know who that would be. I have my ideas, but that's what I've heard. Of the two scenarios, I honestly feel like the former is probably the case. And I know that some folks within the company are trying to get that corrected as soon as possible, but I really feel like the damage has been done at this point.
Do you think that if they do rectify that, it'll make things better, even with what's happening?
I mean, it depends, right? Like, who applied, who do they get? Like, if you told me the 20th anniversary, like, story team is going to have, like, Rich Wolf and John Wick and Reese Osby and Sean Carmen and Robert Denton, all of those fictions are going to be friggin' awesome. They're going to be worth everybody's time, and it's going to be freaking-tastic. Shy of that, will filling the ST positions be a turnaround? In a sense, yes, but I think, having a year of no fictions in a card game that is about the storyline is the worst. Yeah. It's the worst. So what I really feel like is the problem is this. I want you to time travel with me. We're going to go back to summer of last year. We're going to go
say Bill and Ted, but sure.
We're going to go to War Games Con here in Austin. And this was Kote 2013. Okay. So we were at a convention. We were running Heroes of Rokugan, if you remember that, Peter. And we had flown in Brian Reese to be the special guest of the Kote. Now, this Kote was during the season of the apocalypse known as Year 2 Emperor Edition Kotes. And our attendance was awful.
How awful?
More than 50% drop from the previous year, which was about standard for Kotes at that time. Yeah. And that was considered like the end of the freaking game. Like that's that level of attendance. We're gonna get to that in just a little bit too. And so we go out to dinner at Pluckers, a local wing joint that is frequented by the local L5R scene here. And Quells of Madness had come out. I don't know if Gates was out or if the previews had started. But and we're sitting down over dinner, and I say, Brian, please, just don't make it boring. And he said, sure, it won't be boring. I can promise that. A year later, 14, 16 months later, it's really fucking boring. The same broad deck won Gen Con and won the Kote season. That's over 6 months of releases in 2 sets. Crane Scouts is also a force in Strict. It won the Oracle of Earth event locally. It won an Arc event the week previous. The same deck.
The exact same deck. I played at both those events, and it was ridiculous.
And so, between Emperor Edition, we changed player design members, we changed playtest teams. The same was true between Celestial and Emperor. We changed everybody who wasn't named Brian Reese. I made for some folks who asked for it a spreadsheet of cards that have been errated or banned from Samurai Edition to now. I did deep dives on data. There was a lot of time spent in Oracle and Google trying to dig up like old notices of what was hit and what wasn't. And the picture that was uncovered reveals a massive destabilization in the game as time has gone on. Samurai Edition, you had 5 errated cards and 2 bans.
Out of the whole set.
Out of the entire arc.
Yeah, out of the entire arc. That's not bad.
That's really, really good. I mean, it's not magic good, but that's well within the realms of acceptable.
Yeah.
It means that there wasn't something so overpowered that it needed to be done that or couldn't be countered.
Well, I mean, the Chagatai should have been banned earlier than he was. That's about the only complaint that can really be leveled there. In Celestial Edition, I can't tell you how many cards were banned or errated. I know on the numbers that I was able to put together, it was 1.25 cards per set were banned or errated.
Per set.
So
of arc. It's quite a bit more.
Correct.
How many sets were in Emperor?
Glory of the Empire, Imperial Gift. There were 3 sets in Imperial Gift, but you count all of them together. Death at Khoton, Celestial Edition, Harbinger, Path of the Destroyer, Harbinger, Plague War, Dead of Winter, Before the Dawn, The Second City, Forgotten Legacy.
So that's 11 sets?
Yes.
Are you counting the 3 and the 1 as one set or 3?
As one set. And I mean, Strongholds were banned out of that. Out of the free Learn to Play set, cards were banned. Gee, I wonder where you've seen that refrain. Emperor Edition went to...
So that's 15 cards in the whole arc?
Yeah. Give or take. I'd have to bring up... I don't have the spreadsheet on me right now.
Well, you said 1.25 cards per set, so that's roughly about 15 cards.
In Celestial. And in Emperor, it was 2.8.
Wow.
And
how many in
Ivory Edition? And keep in mind, the figures for Celestial and Emperor were with the arcs completed and done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In Ivory Edition, we're a year in, really.
Yeah.
Two if you count the dual bug sets, right? A year in, and the average is 4 bans or errata, because the rules team has had to issue a ton of errata, especially the dual bugged cards, because, and this has become really apparent, they didn't know what the rules were when they were creating the cards for Coils, Gates, and Aftermath.
Right, so they were making it for they were making the rules on those for Emperor and not for.
I sincerely, from what I have been able to glean from various discussions, the rules for Ivory weren't done until very close to the end of Ivory Edition's design cycle.
Which they had to and they didn't have to push the Ivory release back, didn't they?
That was a shipping thing.
Oh, okay.
And say what you will about Brian Reese, but shipping things aren't his fault.
Right. No.
They're the fault of the company deciding to print cards in China rather than not China.
Right.
so you see this massive amount of technical write-out, and we've seen a lot of bans this far in the arc. I know for a fact, because we were just there on Saturday, we're talking to the Houston group. They had at one store 12 players at the start of the arc, and then after the bans hit for Well Defended Farm, and that first wave of hits, they dropped out. They came back a few months later only to see the crane bans hit, and then they quit.
Yeah, just straight up quit. Like a 12-player play group out of one store is actually rather large.
Yeah, that's a very big play group. That's bigger than our play group.
Yeah,
I thought we had about 12 or 15.
Our average attendance is around 8.
Yeah, like I mean, we have people who come in and out, but like we don't.
If everybody showed up all the time, we'd have like 16, I think.
Yeah,
but I mean that's including people like Rain and John, right? Like who are around but don't play.
Right.
And why don't they play? These are guys who played in previous arcs.
Are you talking about John Napick or DiPietro?
Let's say both. Well, John Napick has a job reason. John DiPietro would play if the cards were good, but they're not. Rain Pletcher played in Emperor Edition. He was and I believe he still is a very good player. He quit playing in Emperor Edition. Jace Furchess largely stopped playing after the Austin Cote this year.
We went to Gen Con though, didn't he?
He did go to Gen Con. From what I recall, he did okay in main day.
I thought he got like top 4
last year.
Oh, it was last year? Okay.
Or no, he did that in the second year of Celestial Edition. He made top 4.
Okay, I thought he did that this year.
He sat out of Emperor Edition, and he came back in Ivory. He played in main day, but I don't think he made the cut. He might have made it to the play-in round and lost there. John Napick's had to leave because of work. So, but I mean, we've lost a lot of people to the cards, right?
See, I mean, but then you have like people like me and Chase who are fairly new to the game, and more or less like Ivory Edition's all we know.
I mean, Chase knows Emperor. Chase was there during.
Well, he came in
the latter part of Emperor,
right? Well, so was I, but I still don't really know Emperor like I know Ivory.
Sure, but even Chase has said he preferred that year of Emperor Edition to what we have now.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. I literally bought my first starter March of 2012, so it was first year of Emperor.
I thought you'd been playing for a while.
No. The thing is I started playing in Rapid City, South Dakota, and they have all we play up there is multiplayer Legacy. So my knowledge of the older cards comes from 2 years of playing the old stuff.
Oh, gotcha. That's where your sort of legacy collection.
Yeah,
okay.
That's the reason why I have more cards than I can carry from arcs that are no longer legal.
Which is good because, you know...
Our group apparently likes playing big deck, so you're okay.
Yeah. Ivory Edition has led to a pretty big rise in big deck. That actually brings up Dan Grendel and Ben Kimball, who are also new players who are clamoring for big deck. You know, Ben started with Ivory Edition. Dan's an old school like Naga player, but they both came back for Ivory, and I mean they have Ivory decks, right? But the fun for especially Ben, like his whole attitude changes when he's playing that Shadowlands deck.
Oh yeah, the Oni one.
Yeah. And you can't like Oni Shadowlands monsters have been a hallmark of the game forever. Can't do it in Ivory.
Yep.
There are 3 Oni.
Sounds about right.
I think there's like 4 to 5 on.
There's Minkui, Padairaku. Is there one in New Order?
There's this goblin guy who steals attachments.
Oh yeah, Keppo.
What is it? There's the Suetso. No, what's the one that makes the tokens?
Oh, Suterra, right. There's 2 Oni in the core set.
Yeah.
So there's 4 Oni, but there's no way to avoid honor hits, and there's no way like you just.
Well, there is now. There's a whole.
It reduces to 1. It doesn't
minimum of
right?
1. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like they're not gaining honor, right?
Right.
So Scorpion just eat them, eat them, right?
Yeah.
I would have expected a Shadowland Sensei a year in. We're not getting it. We got a Geisha Sensei. We got a Love Letter Sensei.
Yeah. Like, what's even the story behind Love Letter? Like, let's not get into that. I'm sorry. That just.
Oh no! Like the whole Love Letter thing is a debacle.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the fact there's a third Iwako child, but apparently she's not part of this whole brothers conflict. Apparently, like no one thinks she could be emperor, despite her mother being the emperor. Like, we have no idea if she's is she the youngest child of Iwako? I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I know that
all the Love Letter stuff is talking about her getting married off.
Yeah. That appears to be her whole thing is she is of mirroring age, and please will one of the clans take her and consider it a prize, right? And
no, I'm just like imagining. I don't know if L5R has any kind of like feminist community at all. But
it does.
Okay, I'm pretty sure they're up in arms about that.
Not as much as you'd think, because and this is another deep problem with the game. People stopped caring about the storyline.
Yeah.
I mean, like in the older arcs. So I feel like Imperial through Gold, or maybe the early part of Diamond, people still really, really cared about like the storyline and who their people are, and like you have Naga players basically double lossing each other in the top 4 because Naga don't fight each other. You have these great storyline like considered decisions. You don't have that anymore. Like now, like people troll the story team. Like, haha, let's see you make a fiction out of Gagu defeating the god beasts. Right? Or like, let's see you write your way out of this one, story team. We're going to have a courtier kill the Dark Naga. I mean, that wasn't actually a troll pick. That was Case Kiyonaga picking Geo Avalus's character as a favorite of her. But, I mean, that's like, people care for their own groups, right? People named Traveling Ronin as a favorite of the Traveling Ronin people when there was a follower tournament up here. And I mean, that's cool to an extent.
Right.
But, there's not this level of care in a big way for the storyline. I mean, hell, look at the reaction of the Siege event at Gen Con. The player base was pretty split on like, well, we could kill the Dark Naga, who's been pretty evil for a while and killing a lot of folks, but he's kind of the only bad guy the game has had for 3 years, so we kind of want to keep that around.
Yeah. Yeah, something for the Empire to fight is always a good thing, especially when it's just like
do they not consider Kalima a
Kalima was never carded.
Oh, she wasn't?
Kalima was never carded. None of the destroyers were carded.
Wow.
Yeah, no. That was awful.
Yeah.
At least with Emperor Edition, they had the decent courtesy to card an evil guy.
Yeah.
There is sort of one, I don't know where my phone is, but it's a shame. But
what do you need?
There's a group that you're not a part of on Facebook that has attendance numbers for the various events that have been happening in the winter season. And I wanted to spend some time talking about this because, it's easy to say, oh, it's the latter half of the year. The events just aren't as big because people are tired. Do you get tired of having fun?
No, not particularly.
I mean, if the prizes were good, would you like go to Oklahoma for an event?
Yeah. I mean,
if I had the time to, yeah.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we drove to Fort Worth. Granted that's only like 2.5 hours up the road, but I would keep going if there was some legit prize, or if it was going to be like guaranteed 40-person tournament. I would do that every Saturday.
But I don't think people don't get tired of playing something they enjoy. Magic doesn't see tournament drop-offs in the latter half of the year. I'm not seeing tournament drop-offs for Fantasy Flight events. I'm not seeing them drop off for Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon.
Yeah, that's kind of sad whenever we're coming in last to Yu-Gi-Oh!
Well, I mean, but we have this idea in our heads that, oh, well, it's the latter half of the year, so, you know, people are tired after Gen Con. Like, 100 dudes go to Gen Con. Like, fine, like 150 were at this year's Gen Con for Alphavar. Mm-hmm. 170 if you include Doomtown, right?
Yeah.
Are you telling me, honestly and for real, that sub 200 people play this game in North America? Because you're wrong. There's a ton of people who play this game who never go to Gen Con. You know what they get to do after the Kote season? Fucking nothing. Until there's another Kote season. Fucking nothing. You can't possibly believe in a world where we have all kinds of information to support the theory that people just like get tired of going to card game events later in the year. No, they want to. Like, the problem is a lot of the times post Gen Con, the game sucks. Right now, the game sucks. It sucks in Arc. It sucks in Strict.
Yeah.
It is not fun to play.
Yeah, I mean, like, whenever they were, like, TNOs coming out, I was like, oh, cool, I get a new set, I guess. And, like, I got excited at first, and then I realized, oh, wait, this is the set that comes out right before 20 festivals. So that means that I'm never going to get to use this set. Well, I mean,
you get to use it in Strict events until 20 festivals comes out.
Yep. And I mean, sure, I mean, you can make an argument that I could use it in Arc, or if, like, the Kotes are Arc. But
so the attendance numbers, keep in mind, year 2 of Emperor Edition was considered the apocalypse for most TOs. Mm-hmm. Attendance drops were in the 50% range. And traditionally with L5R, tournament attendance in the first year increases dramatically. You have the first year of an arc, and then you have, traditionally speaking, the second year of an arc attendance drops off. There is one outlier for this, which is the Celestial to Emperor turnover. Year 1 of Celestial was an increase on attendance from Samurai. Year 2 of Celestial was an increase on attendance from Year 1. Year 1 of Emperor was an increase from Year 2 of Celestial. And then all that work was undone in Year 2 of Emperor.
Yep.
Nosedived. It was like, okay, it's the second year of an arc. Attendance sucks. Just, you know, this was the line. Let us wait till the next edition hits, and then it's going to be all right again. And it comes out, and what happens? 5 Kote increase their attendance for Emperor. Many Kote see their attendance drop from what was the apocalypse, right? Because keep in mind, as a TO, your minimum investment to run a Kote, bare minimum, is $450. For guys who aren't in the States and have to pay shipping, it can be more. And a lot of places order 2 kits. That takes you up to like $750 before you factor in like your venue fees and all that. So a lot of places, just to not lose money on an event, need to clear 40 people. They need to get $1,200. Mm-hmm. Just to justify doing it again next year. You know, and you can't tell me, oh, well, the card game market is in a downturn. Oh, fucking really? Because Magic events can't keep table space open. They are running out of venues that can hold Magic tournaments. Vegas wasn't big enough. Right? They had 5,000 people pre-register for one tournament. They had so many people register, they said, if you show up on the day of, you can't get in the door. Lots of card games are coming out, new releases. You have White Swords, you have Card Fight Vanguard, you have Dragon Ball Z, you still have Pokemon, you still have Yu-Gi-Oh!, right? You have a very active LCG market. The card game market is doing way better than it was in 2009 or 2010. So it's not that people don't want to buy cards. It's not that there's a like fanciful like people just stop wanting to play the game in the second year or in the second part of the year. What it is the game sucks. The attendance for the Emerald Championships went from 37 to 16.
That's really sad.
Yeah.
16 players, right? Topaz, I think, had 12 this year. 12 players decided the Topaz Championship. That event got like 100 players when I started playing this game. 100. It's pulling 10% of what it did. And you know what? The thing that really sucks, it's not Daniel Deneen's fault. Daniel Deneen can't make the game better. Sean Carmen, story writer, can't make the game better. Can't do it. Guys on playtest can't make the game better because they don't have the final say. Guys on player design, they can't make the game better. They don't have the final say. The buck stops with one guy. That guy's name is Brian Reese. And I firmly believe this. As a professional, if you are responsible for a 50% decline in your player base for an ongoing game, you should have the professional dignity to resign.
Well, I mean, any other job that you have, if you were responsible for a 50% decrease in just about anything, I mean, they're going to ask for your resignation. I mean, let's just put it in context of sales. Like, I mean, if I, like, hypothetically, if I worked at a pizza place and I cost that pizza place 50% of their sales, or 50% of the people who want to buy their product, it wouldn't even be a question. I would go in the morning and go into my office the next morning and start collecting my stuff and putting it in a box because I would already know that the firing's coming.
There was a designer at Blizzard, and this designer was in charge of several major PvP revisions to the game. His changes resulted in WoW's PvP player base dropping by 50%. It's a weird number, 50%. He was asked to resign.
Yeah, it's perfectly reasonable.
And because you don't want to fire the guy, right?
Yeah.
And I know designing sets is hard. Daniel and I have been working on that special event that I will hope to announce very soon.
It's really fun, guys.
We've been working on it for about 5 weeks, and we're just getting it to the point where it's sort of getting where we want it to be. And it's only like 100 cards.
Yeah.
So I fully recognize that designing card game sets is hard. We can all talk about like what card you'd like to see designed, but we're not wrestling with like word count limits and character limits and spacing. We're not, going like, okay, I need to do 156 cards and then next month I have to do another 156, right? Oh God, it's a core set. I need 372, right? We're not thinking about that. So, designing a card game is really hard. And it requires an incredible head for planning.
Yeah.
There's a reason that the threshold to get on like the design for most card games is incredibly high. Because it is a very hard job. And it's not even to me that there haven't been successes. Ivory Edition sold very well. The core set. They did a big thing where they said, we're sold out of the first print run of Ivory Edition. That's very good. But there wasn't any fanfare over the coming storm or line in the sand there's not any fanfare about the orders for the new order. You go online, they announce the holiday pack, and there's like a couple promos, alt arts of like commons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that people don't have yet.
As soon as I looked at the price tag, I was just like,
for $75.
Yeah. And it's like, what am I getting? All of these clan guys? Like, am I getting all 9 of these guys? Wait, I'm only getting 1, and he's gonna come in the starter for 20 Ivory 2. Mm-hmm. No, I'll pass. I don't need the like black and blue border that bad.
And what I have noticed throughout my time playing this game is that there is a lack of planning and thinking ahead about how cards interact with each other. And there is literally nothing more important to making a good, fun card like CCG. Like, we see all this like clout stuff and conspiracy stuff in
totally cool flavor
in Line in the Sand. Oh yeah,
cool flavor.
Clout's weird for Spider. Clout's weird, but I get it. Like, whatever, right?
Yeah, but that was Line in the Sand. That was Line in the Sand. Right?
Yeah,
but then there's nothing.
There's one card in the new order, and it's a unique guy.
Yeah.
And it was set up as like
was another thing that came out in Line of Sin, resilient or something, or not resilient, but there was another keyword that came out and
resilience in Line in the Sand.
Yeah, I know, but there was another keyword that came out. I think
courage.
Yeah. How many courage cards are we getting? And
in new order,
2.
I don't know. Personally,
I'll be honest. I was really just too disgusted looking at the previews to get that accurate of a count.
Yeah.
Yeah. The point is that there, and this is an argument that I've heard a lot among our play group, is that there are these play styles that are coming out and just aren't getting support. It's like they're just an afterthought. It's like, we need something for. We want to bring out something. We want to bring out something new. Oh, hey, here it is. Oh, hey, that's cool. What's next for it? Not a whole lot.
And you have this problem where people can't build the decks they want to play. Like, I really want to play a tattooed monk deck. You guys don't even understand how bad. Mm-hmm. That's like been the deck I play, and I have built in every arc I've ever built a deck for this game. The first big deck I made was like 7 Thunders, and then all the Togashi monks I could possibly fit into that theme. Yeah. All of them. I love it. There are enough to make a deck in Strict. Is it good? No. Is it fun? Not really.
Have you? So I played against one that Anthony
Raven.
Yeah.
Anthony. No, he does L5R on Untap. It's a Twitch stream. You guys should check it out if you're not watching it already.
Yeah, he's
Takashi Razio.
He's a really interactive player. I like playing against him.
Yeah, I played against that deck against him, and he said himself that when I played against him on it, it was the second time he did it. Like, he played it in a match right before I played him, and he wasn't too sold on it.
It doesn't work, right? It doesn't work. And I know that they're not supposed to be a primary theme until next year, but what
you should still be able to play it. I mean, it should be playable.
Well, if not a primary, not necessarily. I mean, you can make an argument that every clan should be getting 2 themes, but like 2 of those, at least one of those themes should be like well liked and popular. Mm-hmm. The dragon themes are
and that'll cost you $300 to make.
Honor Shugenja and Kensai.
Yeah.
And Kensai is okay-ish.
Yeah.
And Honor Shugenja is largely trash.
Yeah.
Shockingly, on a decks that go second to Crane, lose a lot. That's weird. And Phoenix. Anyway.
Inline.
Phoenix's themes are Yojimbo, Chug, military, and then
And Shugenja Big Unit.
I think it's Shugenja Military is the other theme.
Yeah, it's assembling Voltron.
They're two senseis are their two themes, right? So you have the Fire Shugenja Military, which is awful, and then you have Rei Sensei, which, despite certain claims to the contrary, is probably going to be like playable after the New Order.
Yeah, after the New Order, it's definitely playable. A lot of people are saying it's broken sideways. I see the potential for it being broke sideways.
I've played it 3 times, man, and like at least against like decks running cards that should be in every deck, like Your True Nature. It folds real bad.
Yeah.
I think the claim is that it's so far like it's a 50-50 win.
Well, see,
and 50-50 is not broke.
Yeah, what the brokenness comes from is
if you
get 3 Jade Ascensions in play, it gets broke really fast.
Well, I mean, like a whole lot of decks get dumb if you see 3 of a certain card.
Oh yeah, man. If I put Guidance of War, 3 Stones of Purity on Moto Alani, I mean, you might as well be playing the Godzilla theme song, because I'm going to be running through your goddamn town knocking over buildings, and there's going to be little Asian people running around screaming for life.
And there's definitely this perception that, especially after Emperor Edition, because people got it's like an abusive relationship. People got scarred by Emperor Edition. Look at all these cards that are like negate cards, or like unnegatably kill a unit, or like I completely uninteractively destroy your deck. I have a 30-force Naga that can't be targeted by any action forever and kills 7 armies even when they stay at home. You're just like you just look at Emperor, you're like, holy God, this is bananas. But like the not tournament tier of Emperor Edition, the most fun I've ever had with this game. The most fun. I had a Ronin deck out of Palace of the Breaking Dawn. You couldn't not have fun with Ronin. Yeah. It was impossible. Now, like, it's not that the tournament decks are boring, it's that all decks are boring. Like, the Mantis themes right now are Saruchi shoot dudes in the face, only it's not until the last set of the year where they get a guy who is as good as the range attack guy Crane got in the core set.
Yeah.
Only wait, his stats are worse for the same gold cost, which I think is hilarious. And they have Kitsune Honor, I believe, is their other theme.
Pokemon.
Yeah.
There was a Pokemon deck, and I'm going to say Pokemon because people might get confused. Anyway, there was a Kitsune deck.
The Kitsune Honor deck is often referred to as Pokemon because it makes spirit creatures as though they were being summoned from Pokeballs. Continue, Andrew.
All right. It was really interesting. It was it did okay. I wouldn't necessarily call it a tournament deck because I had no issue with it. But I mean, it exists. It's out there, and I'm sure some with a little bit more tweaking or somebody who was more interested.
But in 20 Festival, it's not going to drop. It's not going to be a main theme anymore.
Yeah.
And the Spirit Honor.
Wait, it was a main theme this arc?
Yeah.
How much support? Like, okay, I'll take your word for it.
Because it certainly wasn't Moshi. Moshi are going to be a primary theme next year.
Oh yes.
So
Yoritomo is going to be a primary theme. Whatever random keyword they're going to give to the Yoritomo.
I hope it's pirates again.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
It's not going to be.
It's not going to be, but I really wish it was.
So, okay.
We might get Samurai.
Because I haven't really...
It's like Bushi. What the hell is this?
There we go. That's your theme, okay. Mantis Bushi.
So...
We're out of ideas.
Because I'm not completely up to date on the news of the card game. What is it? Why is... the 20 Fest, because 20 Festival is supposed to be Ivory Tooth.
Yeah,
is that
correct?
Okay.
Yeah.
So why is it that TNO is not even going to be valid once that comes out?
So right now, you have two broadly played tournament formats. You have Arc and Strict. Strict is very simply Ivory Edition to the New Order. So it's essentially all cards printed in 2014 are Strict legal.
Right.
Arc legal is coils forward.
Right. Yeah. No, I know that.
So when 20 Festivals hits, everything that's printed in 2013 or earlier, in the case of the Eternity bugged cards, cycles out.
Right. And that includes Coils, Gates, and Aftermath.
Coils, Gates, Aftermath, and the Strongholds and Sensei of Ivory Edition Core.
Yep.
20 Festivals brings in new Strongholds and new Sensei for most clans. Mantis gets screwed because we don't get a new box. Our box was good enough to win like a couple Kotes and I think Origins, and that's all we get to have. So
the Unicorn box gets nerfed. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that's a bad thing, but it does.
I think the Unicorn box betrays a weakness that they don't know how to make. They've never really known how to make Lion work. Lion either are like thoroughly mid-tier like they are now, or hilariously like turn 2 province broken.
Yeah.
Right? Lion speed deck goes all the way back.
Lion ancestors can take a province on turn 1.
And they can take a province on turn 1 in Strict next year, or in Arc next year. So anyway, so 20 Festivals hits. Coils, Aftermath, Gates, Eternity bugged cards, Oracle of the Void experienced, Family Sword, and those promos.
Right, all those promos that came
rotate out.
Prior to Ivory, yes.
So then Arc becomes most of Ivory Edition to 20 Festivals. And Strict becomes just 20 Festivals.
Yeah.
So if you were to buy the New Order for Strict play, it is legal from this week until, like, strictly speaking, a month after the release of the Stronghold release of 20 Festivals. So 3 months.
Yeah, for Strict play. I mean, it'll still be available in Arc play.
And extended.
But...
and that brings up the question of formats. There was a big discussion about why certain cards weren't banned recently. And in the article posted about it, Brian Reese said that it's because, these cards will rotate soon, so we don't have to worry about it. But what he forgot about, and I do believe this was an honest mistake, is that there is an extended format. And if you are used to the traditional way L5R legality works.
Yeah, everything's legal for 2 years. On our class.
2 years-ish. Yeah. Like, dual bugs are legal for longer, which is why they're good investments. But everything printed, Coils, Aftermath, Gates, those promos, etc., are extended legal.
Right.
And... that means a lot of things. So you'll have Coils to 20 Festivals being the like traditional L5R legality block. And so you have this correct perception that Strict play, everything you've been playing in Strict this year, goes to Arc next year. And we have no concept of if 20 Festivals will be worth buying. We have seen there will not be new clan champions in 20 Festivals,
which is disappointing.
We are instead seeing experience levels of other dudes. For example, the Lion Tactician Akoto Kanaro is getting experienced into a Tactician Duelist
with a duel, and whenever Lion Clan people win duels, they get force.
Or something.
Yeah.
And there's a Scorpion Poison Duelists. And Kikita Door Kick becomes Kikita Dual Kick.
I've smashed it. Like, he's...
The Unicorn dude is actually really good.
I do really like him.
Shinjo Taihun XP.
He has a decent price tag, good trait, good ability.
Kuni Renyu gets experienced again because Reggie is a cool dude and we like Reggie. Reggie is a organizer and player out in St. Louis. He's been a long time L5R player, very big voice in the community, and Kuni Renyu is sort of his character. One of his characters, Hida Kozan, is also his character. And so for strict play, 20 festivals is legal for 3 months, which is an awful investment. Nobody wants to spend $140 and with the knowledge that in 3 months it's not going to work in the way you wanted it to. And there's going to be some reactions like this. I do feel like that's a relative minority opinion, because I feel like, sure, right now a lot of people are playing strict because people are blaming Coils of Madness, specifically as the set, that unbalances arc play. We've been running arc events for a very long time, and that is very much not the case.
I would say arc, honestly, even with, you're probably mostly referring to Unsettling, and Unsettling is really...
Unsettling is Gates of Chaos.
Yeah.
Unsettling is Gates. It's mostly the Fallen guys.
Oh, yeah, right?
Yeah, because Fallen Dueling was a very... Okay, I'm not going to say it's a very hard to beat deck, but...
It is very hard to beat.
Okay, yes, it is a very hard to beat deck. I was gonna try to say it a nicer way. No, it's just hard to beat. I did actually beat it in the Dallas Cote, and I was astonished that it happened. I was playing Martino, and when I did my last action that I had, he's like, "All right, you win." I was like, "What? What do you mean?" It's like, "Yeah, I got nothing else."
Yeah, just like, okay,
Fallen Dueling is very good, but and I think this has been borne out in the arc events that we've been running. Fallen Dueling has sort of been around. Stephen Ryan played it at the Austin level 10 a couple weeks ago, and he went like 1-3.
He was a guy from San Antonio. Right? Yeah. He played it. I didn't even know
out of Spider.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was that deck.
He did Fallen Dueling out of Spider. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Most of the time when I saw it was out of Phoenix.
Well, I mean, that was when we were trying to make Phoenix work, and our objective was like, all right, just fucking put Fallen Dueling into it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Not good things, because Nexus of Lies was around.
Yeah.
So it works a lot better out of Spider,
because you don't lose honor from
Nexus.
Yeah. I didn't even know it was that deck. He got the Dark Naga out, but Dark Naga's in so many decks.
Dark Naga was in one of my decks.
But and here's one of the reasons I vastly prefer arc events. I feel like those personalities make the game interesting. Mm-hmm. I have to like play around the Dark Naga. I have to acknowledge that you've bought this dude and he is a giant bastard, and I need to deal with it.
Yeah.
I need to acknowledge that Hiruma Nakaru is out there and is a threat I need to deal with. Mm-hmm. I need to recognize that, Bayushi Natoshi can just eat units, right? But that's interesting. Yeah. I don't, it's not fun as a card game to be like, I spend my, limited resource gold on a guy that's like blank with a trait. And it's not a trait that's like super impactful. It's kind of annoying sometimes, maybe. And that's what I get to spend my money on. He doesn't swing the game. He doesn't make you change your play patterns. He doesn't make me change my play patterns. He's just a body with a pulse and some chi.
Right.
And
so
that's
we've got about 5 minutes left till we can't record anymore. So in this last 5 minutes that we have, what would you say, if you can say anything, Ivory Edition has done right?
It has done well in attracting new players. Simplifying the rules has done a very good deal to get people interested. I like that we're using alt art promos. I wish they were rares and not commons and uncommons that I have 4,000 copies of. Mm-hmm. But it's a step in the right direction. The storyline event at Gen Con was really cool. The winter events, the prizes have been very worthwhile. I got a cool alt art of the Mantis champion.
Wasn't that a custom one though?
Yeah, I mean that was Sam Flegel being sweet at Gen Con. He altered him into altered the Hiromi XP art into Yoritomo. It's actually really cool. And and I run I built a Mantis deck just to basically run that card. Yeah. Siege is really good. I like the idea of Siege. Mm-hmm. It messes Big Deck really hard, and that's whatever. Everything messes up Big Deck really hard.
I thought Big Deck messed up Siege really hard.
Depends on your perspective. Cavalry. I really like Cavalry, actually. I think it's very good now.
Oddly enough, from playing Unicorn a lot, I actually do for Ivory. I don't like Cavalry in Legacy formats, but for Ivory, I do like Cav, and I do like the fact that like in Emperor, if you built a Cav deck, like there was no, and you were playing against Unicorn should be the best at Cav, just like Saruchi should be the best at shooting things in the face. Mm-hmm. And in the current environment, like it actually does play that way. Unicorn is the best at Cav. Now you can have some Cav defense and it works. I'm not saying Unicorn is unbeatable.
Is Saruchi the best at shooting things in the face?
No, Crane.
No, Crane's the best at shooting people in the face. But we're in an environment to wherever Cavalry reflectively works better.
The experience levels of the clan champions in the dual bug sets was actually really cool. Like Kenpeki gets like a political thing because his storyline is he's presenting Ibuko Shibatsu to the court. Mm-hmm. Dairuko murders the crap out of unaligned guys and
other lion guys
because that's her leading the lion forces against the Yodotai. Mm-hmm. Yoritomo Hiromi gets to deliberations on a boat because
money shot.
That was really inappropriate.
You said we were earning the name today.
That's what it is.
But I felt like those were. I felt like those were actually very good, and I was hoping that we'd see something like that continue forward. Mm-hmm. I think gold pooling makes the game a lot faster in some ways. It's for those of you who've played in older editions, it was sometimes like, all right, he needs 5 gold and he needs 7 gold, and but now it's just like it costs this much, I have this much, boom, boom, done.
Yeah.
This is the best Ring of Earth has ever been, and since I've been playing the game.
Really? You prefer this Ring of Earth?
Over the presence-less, Outer Walls one from Emperor, yeah. It's strictly better.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
the dual-sided strongholds, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I do like the dual-sided strongholds. But
I don't like the strongholds, but now, I like the idea.
Now we have Discipline Earth.
Now
we have Discipline Earth, so Earth is currently devalued. I want my rings to do something.
Kind of. Brazen Disregard is actually better because it can negate cavalry.
Ah, yeah, see? Now there's no point in running Ring of Earth anymore.
No, there's still a point to it.
Yeah, you can be dragon, start with it, and get 3 free monks turn 1 plus money.
Yeah, and extended.
Yeah, extended's going to be a fun, hilariously broken format because people weren't planning on it being played. I'm seriously looking forward to extended next year, though. I think it's going to be. I think it'll feel the most like L5R of Ivory Edition. It'll feel like this is how my forefathers played L5R when cards were broken and meaningful.
So do you think extended is going to be the only real valid play format?
It's the only format I'm looking forward to because honestly, in terms of tournament formats, I think Arc is going to be very popular. Strict won't be a thing till late Kote season, if at all, because it's one set.
Right.
It's not a tournament format if it's one set.
Right.
Yeah. At that point, it's No, I wouldn't. Oh, never mind.
Well, I mean, we don't know what it looks like, so we don't know how many, if any, things are going to be reprinted from older sets.
Yeah, I mean, like, if they reprint Everyone Dies, then we're off to the races. Everyone Dies is my favorite event ever. It's an event that says, to the start of your next turn, all provinces have their province strength set to 0. And it's called Everyone Dies. I love it. And it being reprinted would be a hilariously terrible yet great idea. But
so you have your suggestion, AEG.
But that's not going to happen, right? That card is far too hilarious for edition for Ivory, right? Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of what it boils down to, right? Like, this card is too fun for Ivory Edition.
Yeah.
It makes too many things happen.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you. I want some more fun cards that have a little bit of cheese to them, but
bad cards are fine. They are. I don't like a year of them.
Right. Yeah.
I don't like a year of a card game that gets like unchanged as sets evolve. Like, I put in, like, my Lion deck added like 1 card from Lion of the Sand.
Yeah.
I think
I'm actually using quite a few in mine. That's
because you got the poison support.
No, I'm not even doing poison anymore.
Oh yeah. He's doing just ninjas and
Ninja Mill. And I've grabbed quite a few from TNO, and we have like 60 seconds.
Yeah.
So I think we have to kind of end it on this note, unfortunately.
Well, guys, thank you for listening to Breach of Etiquette. I hope you continue to listen to it. I do not intend for our other episodes to be
so force-based.
I want them to come out more quickly, and I hope that we can make them not as negative as this one is. I appreciate all of you guys for listening in this time around, and I'll see you next time.
Disclaimer, we do love this game, and we want it to continue. We really do.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have spent an hour and a half talking about it if we didn't.
It's very, that is very true, and...
So for the healthy continuation of L5R, Oots Bonsai!